Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more r/mad butthole. And before we do get into today's stories, I just want to say a huge thank you for everything you do. We're coming up towards the end of the year now, and I'm just ever so thankful for you letting me read stories to you and just getting involved with the community, really. It does really mean the world. Sorry, I'm extra emotional this December, so thank you so much. And let's crack on with today's first story. And today's first story does follow with an update, so if you've read the original before, please feel free to use the timestamps, that's what they're there for. And it's from Throwaway 6F63 who asks, am I the arsehole for telling my wife to get off her ass? Me, 36 male, and my wife, 36 female, have always had similar life goals and have been relatively on the same page in terms of what we both want for ourselves and each other over the 15 years we've been together. We both have master's degrees in our respective fields and have worked very hard to buy a home, purchase a duplex to rent out, and build our lives. We have both been very frugal and conscientious about money. About a year ago, she lost her job due to downsizing in her company. She decided she wanted to be a homemaker after this happened and deal with our tenants and household affairs. We don't have any children, so really all she would have to do is clean the house, collect rent checks, and call the plumber or something if there is an issue either at the rental property or ours. We weren't necessarily struggling for money at this point, so if this was how she decides she wants to spend her time, I'll support her. The issue is that she doesn't do any of these things. Either she will spend the entire day watching television and browsing the internet, or go out shopping and spend exuberant amounts of money. I'm not exaggerating when it comes to how much she's been spending. A brand new fancy car, tons of expensive high-end clothes with brand names from Europe I hadn't even heard of, a bunch of fancy gadgets and whatever else. We weren't high-rolling it before, just living relatively comfortably, and all this spending has put a financial strain on things. On top of this, she isn't doing any of the things she said she wanted to do as a homemaker. I clean the entire house, I deal with the issues at the rental, I searched for a new tenant. All the things we once shared responsibility for, and she said she would completely handle after losing her job, I have been taken care of. I have been concerned about this as it's unlike her and a dramatic shift in her behaviour. I tried asking if something is wrong. She says everything is fine. I tried telling her I'm a bit concerned and suggested seeing a therapist and that we could even go in together, but she refused. 2 nights ago, I came home late after working for 12 hours and found that the house was an even bigger mess than when I left, and there was a huge pile of new clothes she bought sitting in the living room that she spent $7,000 on. I saw a notification from the credit card company on my phone about 10 minutes before walking through the door. I broke down. I lost it. I told her I don't know what the fuck is happening or going on with her, but she needs to get off her ass to either get a job to pay for all this, go to therapy, or stop spending so much and do what she promised after she decided not to go back to work. This is after a year of me trying to talk her out whatever the heck is going on, and I just reached a breaking point. She left to go to her mother's, and my mother-in-law has been texting me non-stop, calling me a bad husband and a piece of garbage. And my wife hasn't been returning my calls. I think your frustration in this story is absolutely justified. And obviously I think there's something more going on with the wife. I think, she's down herself at this moment in time. But OP has talked about therapy going in together, but she just wasn't having it. And as I said, I think it's justified that you got to this point where you've come back and sent $7,000 worth of clothes. The house is still an absolute mess. And you've just gone like, screw this. This is too much, And it'd be interesting to know what was said to mother-in-law, because I think if mother-in-law, any person saw this, they would say, this is not normal behavior and there's something else going on here. So it's going to be very interesting in the update, I think. But Comprehensive Band 586 says not the arsehole, but you should cancel your credit cards. Run a regular credit check in case she tries to open new ones. She's draining your money and dumping all the work on you. You also need to talk to a financial advisor and make her listen to what the advisor has to say. Kantuogo Sum says not the arsehole. This is a downward spiral. She needs help. $7,000 on clothes. For what? That's madness. She needs to get some serious therapy and get back to work. She absolutely also told her mother and your mother a different story, that what is actually going on. You need to speak to them and tell them what has been going on, and perhaps it might be conscientious of you to separate your finances from hers. Pagan Chick 720 says, not the arsehole, you are understandably at your breaking point. It does sound like there is something going on. I think you should continue to suggest counselling, as she clearly needs it and is in denial about it. Spending 7k on clothes when one of you is employed is ridiculous. She has to see that she is bleeding you dry and is hurting the both of your future plans. OP replies saying, I just want my wife back as her personality has shifted a bit as well. Our plans to buy another rental are out the window for quite some time now. We had a lot saved and we're planning to buy once the housing market goes back down. I have a decent job, but I don't make enough to sustain this. Disney Nerd Mum says, not the arsehole. She sounds like she's depressed and using shopping to make her feel better. You're right to insist on counselling. Is your financial issue severe enough to call company and restrict usage? I'd be concerned about her maxing them out or using all the money in the bank after you confronted her. OP replies saying, I'll call the bank today and set limits into everything. There haven't been any new expenses since she left, besides an order to the local takeout place. I think it has reached that point, yes. This is the first time in my life I've ever been in a net negative in terms of savings and debt. Not even in college, as I joined National Guard to pay for school. Our savings have dwindled to a fraction of what they were, and we had been saving a lot beforehand to buy another rental property down the road, once the housing market goes down again. 2 Cent Psychologist says, not the arseholes. She seems depressed and using shopping therapy that will sink both of you down at this rate if you don't put a stop to it. Before she bankrupts you both, cancel her credit cards and access to checking account and provide her with a card with limited monthly expenses. Then discuss therapy as a condition to stay in the relationship, if you think it's salvageable. So now we'll move on to the update to see what that says. Updates. I just thought I'd write a quick follow-up to my previous post. Things have improved. As many of you suspected, my wife told her mother a completely different story than what happened. When I spoke to my mother-in-law, she was immediately concerned about my wife's behaviour. My sister-in-law, who is no longer with us, struggled with manic depressive disorder for many years after a long period of spiralling and frightening behaviour. My mother-in-law knows how devastating and serious mental illness can be and immediately encouraged my wife to speak to a therapist. Me and my mother-in-law worked together over the next few days to find something for her. At first my wife refused, but with me and her mother both saying she needed to recognise she needed help, she eventually accepted. We had our first counselling session this week and we went in together. Even though it may be hard to say since we both just started therapy, I think things seem promising. My wife made some big steps. We returned or are in the process of selling the majority of everything she's bought over the past year. Even though she didn't use most of it, separating herself from these items was something difficult for her, and I'm immensely proud of her for doing the right thing. Some of you were also right that she may be having second thoughts about my vasectomy, and may want to have a kid. I told her that we should focus on her recovering for now, but once that happens we can start talking options. I have alerts on all my cards and accounts, so if she goes into another spending spree, I can shut the cards down again if I have to. I also told my brother about what's been going on. He called me a dumbass for not thinking I could come and talk to him about anything. We had a big hug and a long talk over a few beers. Even though things aren't perfect, this is the first time things have been looking up in a long time. And I think that's a pretty amazing update with positives pretty much all around there. That wife is seeking therapy, husband's working with her to overcome the issues that's going on currently, and mother-in-law got the wrong side of the story, and when she did find out the truth, she recognized that, her daughter does need help and worked with her as well. A family unit coming together, absolutely fantastic. And afterwards, in reading it and reflecting back on some past times in my life, I thought, have I used spending, during a sad time? And I think I definitely have. I'm not saying it's exactly the same as this person because, it probably isn't, but I can certainly remember times when my mum was hiding her illness from us. And I knew something was going on, so I was going home from work, I was diagnosed with depression, coming home crying and stuff like that, and I can remember times, looking on the internet, buying a game and then never playing it, or something just for that little boost, and it's strange to think back on it back then. But yes, I'm glad this person did seek help. Now, what do you guys make of this situation? What are your thoughts on this story? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story is from BasedVast2471 and again does follow with an update. Titled, Am I the Arsehole for laughing after my sister implied my brother's girlfriend's dish wasn't good at Thanksgiving? I, 27 female, and my brother John, 26 male, are very close. So I was definitely shocked when he surprised us on Thanksgiving by bringing his new girlfriend Chelsea. He was very happy though, and to be honest, that's the only thing we want for him, so we, grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles and cousins, held off all the questions until another time. Anyway, dinner time rolls around and we're sharing everything, and my aunt kind of pulls me off to the side and tells me we're not going to be eating my mashed potatoes because Chelsea brought some and John asked that we serve those. I was a little peeved, not gonna lie, because I've done the mashed potatoes for Thanksgiving since I was 16, but I got over it pretty fast. I really didn't care as long as they were good. Spoiler alert, they were not. Everything that could have gone wrong with those potatoes went wrong. They were raisins. She was really excited though, so when she asked everybody if they were good, she got some people saying, you know, the kind of thing you do with your mouth closed and an uncomfortable smile on your face. Everything else was good, so her dish was highlighted. We all thought we passed it though, until my nephew spit it out into a tissue. She said something about not pleasing everybody to lighten the mood because we were all looking at him hard as hell, and my brother went, "I'm sure they're glad to have a break from my potatoes anyway," and then laughed. I wasn't going to say anything, but my sister, 22 female, said, "We are not," in the most monotone voice, and I just laughed, man. Like one burst of a cackle. Chelsea teared up and the rest of the night was awkward. My brother called me an arse and is still mad at me. Am I the arsehole? And there is a little one-line edit to this post before we go to the update as well. And I was confused about one little section of this where it said they were raisins, and I thought that was a way of describing how it looked. Maybe they were like little lumps in the shapes of raisins or something like that. But apparently there were actually raisins in the mashed potatoes. Now I'm all for someone with a bit of bacon in there, a bit of cheese in there, but I've never had raisins in my mashed potatoes before, and I'm sorry if that's your thing, but that sends shivers down my spine. And what I want to say about this, I wanted to say not the arsehole to me, but I think I'm gonna have to go with an everyone sucks here. But you're very lightly the arsehole, not as much as your brother in this situation. I think your brother is the major arsehole. He brought the new girlfriend by surprise to Thanksgiving. Obviously told her or she wanted to bring a dish to be kind, which she did, and he must have known this was your dish that you cook every single year as well, so he set Chelsea up for a fall in this situation. And the dish may have been poor, but she took her time and effort to try and please your family at the kindness of her heart to do so. This girl was probably feeling incredibly nervous being around a whole bunch of new people, bringing a dish as well would make me super nervous, and I would want people to enjoy that, and if they didn't, I'd be hugely embarrassed as well. So I think for your 22-year-old sister to joke about it and then you to laugh about it makes you very lightly the arsehole. I'm not going to say a massive arsehole because you're not, but I think your brother is the major arsehole in this situation. He set her up for this, simple as. But Love Me Long Time says raisins in mashed potatoes. Quietly spits raisins into napkin. There should have been 2 bowls of mashed potatoes offered, not the arsehole. Jip1992 says, your brother was being an arsehole by insulting your potatoes. Your sister defended you. It is totally on your brother for opening that can of worms. I am actually a very stubborn person and will probably have refused to apologize. This was your brother's fault, not yours. Tequila Mockingbird says, I had something similar happen to me this Thanksgiving. My boyfriend and I attended his and my family's Thanksgiving. I was asked to make an extra side dish for his family, and I chose to make tuna noodles. Well, at 24 years old, I just realised tuna noodles isn't a normal Thanksgiving dish. As we served food at his family's, my tuna noodles were just left sitting the entire dinner, and when one of his younger cousins decided to try some, he spit it out and everyone kind of chuckled. It hurt my feelings, but it comes down to realising that people have different tastes. My family loves those noodles and his family didn't. Your brother's girlfriend family probably loves raisins in their taters, yours doesn't. It was a bit rude of your sister, and you could have apologised more genuinely to lighten the situation. But I think there's a no one's the arsehole here. It sucks most for the girlfriend because she went out of her way to make something to contribute and got teased instead. But yeah, everyone has different tastes. Maybe she'd taste your mashed potatoes and think they were awful too. Lol. Angry Olive 2 says, look, everyone sucks here except your brother's girlfriend. What, your family couldn't put 2 bowls of mashed potatoes on the table? That would have been totally uncouth and the end of time. Put out both bowls. People would do their and then just quietly eat yours. Your sister is an arsehole for her comment, and whether it was intentional or not, it was an arsehole thing to laugh, because that was humiliating for that girl. I think you're the smallest arsehole here. I understand natural reactions happen, but it did make her feel bad, accidental or not. Your brother is an arsehole for setting her up by not telling her what she can reasonably bring and by comparing her potatoes to yours to try and put yours down. This poor girl. And one more before we move to the update with Competitive Young, who says everyone sucks here, or at least everyone except the girlfriend is rude. Your brother for not checking what she could bring, and for saying what he did about your potatoes. Your sister for her comment. You for laughing. And honestly, some of the people in this thread are rude as hell. Would I be amped to have mashed potatoes with raisins? No. But she made an effort to contribute, and saying, get that child a cookbook is so obnoxious and over the top. It's not her fault her boyfriend didn't communicate to her what to bring, or not to bring anything. And the get the child a cookbook is not from the story, it's from one of the comments. And before we move on to the update, the little one-line edit said, my sister and I both apologised, although I just said, I'm really sorry, and my sister did more. So on to the update. Question and clearing up things in general first. Yes, there were actual raisins, not the metaphorical kind. They were just mixed into the mashed potatoes. Yes, my wife makes a side salad, as all traditional dishes are given to immediate family members. No, my brother does not make anything, never has. Chelsea and John have been together about a month and a half at this point. The laugh wasn't a ha ha ha, it was a ha, just one very loud ha. Alright, into the meat. Is that a pun? Does that count as a pun? John is still mad at my sister and I had a conversation with Chelsea a day after I originally made the post. I explained that while my apology was genuine, I can understand if it didn't come off that way, and that I was really sorry. I also said I had no intentions to hurt her feelings whatsoever. She explained that my brother told her to bring that potatoes, which she questioned because she is familiar with the traditional Thanksgiving setup. The justification for that was him wanting her to feel like part of the family. She also said she was worried about none of us going for her dish, and mentioned it to my brother, who then asked my aunt to only display hers. Apparently, she saw some kind of tutorial online with the raisins and just went for it. No, it was not cultural. She asked for some mash tips, and she was going right with her technique. She just panicked when they burnt and then added water, which I'm assuming is what altered the taste. Then she added the raisins, which we both agreed can be left out of future potatoes. Lol. Overall, Chelsea and I are good, and she will be coming to Christmas dinner. And I think that, again, as always with a lot of updates that we get, they're pretty positive, and this is another positive post that's solved with communication. OP approaching Chelsea and saying that I'm really sorry about what happened. It wasn't intentional to hurt your feelings, and it was just a reaction in the moment, which does happen. We all have these moments, don't we? If we apologise for them, and we can clear things up, and that's the best way forward. And a lot of people in the comments on the update is just saying, you know, for Christmas, leave brother at home, just bring Chelsea along. Let me know what your thoughts are in this story, and we'll crack on with another one. And do you put raisins in your mash? Let me know. Additional question, do you not have roasties at your Thanksgiving dinners, like roast potatoes? You must do. Anyway, let's move on again. Guess what time it is, guys? Neighbours! And this story is from Yasmin Rainbow Spirit, who says, am I the arsehole for asking my neighbour to move her craft room to a different bedroom? Let's get involved. My husband and I live in an upstairs 3-bedroom flat, and the flat below us is the same layout. The house has been for sale for a while, and recently a woman bought it. It turns out she doesn't have any children, and I found it strange she bought a 3-bedroom house, but I soon found out it's because she runs a craft business from home and needs 2 bedrooms to run it. The problem is, unfortunately, she has decided to use the main bedroom, which is below us, as her main craft room. At first it was fine and she hadn't really moved in, but now it's driving me crazy. She's in that room almost all day, and I can hear her walking about and the faint noise of machines. I don't spend long in my bedroom during the day, but when I do go in, it just annoys me knowing she's there constantly. Like, why can't she have picked the smaller bedroom since she knows the kids are at school all day? She always stops using her embroidery and sewing machines by 7 PM, but she's told me she can sit up till 10 PM some nights finishing off orders, which plays on my mind. I go to bed at 9 PM and I can't sleep for hours as I lie there listening for her every move. Just knowing she's awake and walking about drives me crazy, as I find it so selfish someone will buy a flat and work from home. My husband says he can barely hear a thing during the day and I need to calm down. He also doesn't see the big deal about her using her house as she pleases. Yesterday I finally had enough and went to her door. I told her how I was feeling about everything and how I can hear the faint noise of her machines. She apologized and invited me inside to show me her setup. All her machines are on some sort of anti-vibration padding to stop as much noise as possible, so she claims the noise should be minimal and that you need to expect some noise from neighbours. I told her I don't make any noise, and that's when things took a turn, as she said she can hear my kids running around and jumping off furniture all evening, but she would never dream of complaining because it's just one of those things when you share a building with other people. I left before I said anything else I regretted, and I thought that was the end of it, but today my husband came home from work overnight and asked if I had said anything to the woman downstairs, as she was very cold and blunt with him when he said hello. I told him what happened and he said I'm a massive arsehole. I've spoken to a couple of my friends who think I've handled this completely wrong and I'm a bit of an arsehole for it, but I don't see what else I could have done. Now, we covered a story yesterday about a similar situation, like noise in apartments, but in this one, although you did mention, the faint noise of the machines, etc., it seemed more like psychological stuff, that she's in the room below you and she's awake in her apartment. The fact that she's walking around below you bothers you that much that you can't sleep and you have to think about it. And that's what it seemed more like to me. So of course you're going to be the arsehole in this situation. This person can do what the hell they want in their apartment. And it's like you said, they shut down at 7 p.m. And if your husband can barely hear anything and you've got children who jumping around as well, I'm not sure how you can complain, and you just need to find a solution for yourself. Like many people in these stories suggest, earphones, earplugs, something along those lines. And the fact that you're telling her, she should be moving into a different room because it's below your bedroom. Come on now, please. But third tries the charm says, and quotes, I go to bed at 9 p.m. and I can't sleep for hours as I lie there listening for her every move, and then says, you're just not equipped for apartment living, which is not your neighbour's problem to deal with. Get some noise cancelling sleep headphones. You're the arsehole. Also, you're the arsehole. Your kids are actually jumping off furniture. OP replies that saying, unfortunately we have to live where the council put us, which is a flat. I can't stop them having fun. Our garden is overgrown because I don't have time to cut the grass and overgrown bushes, so they can't play outside, so they need to play inside. Mountain Hyacinth replies to that saying, in another comment you said that the kids were at school all day. How do you not have time to tend to the garden? OP replies saying, I work from home. What? To which Roly Poly says, wait, you work from home but are upset the neighbour bought a place and works from home. How does that make sense? But TTTia says, you're the arsehole. My god, the absolute entitlement in this post. It's faint noise and she's working really hard to make sure that the noise doesn't disturb anyone regardless. You do have to put up with some noise when you choose to live in a building with other people, and that's just the name of the game. She's not throwing a party, she's not stomping around, she's not up absurdly late. As someone incredibly sensitive who herself has lived beneath some of the rudest, noisiest neighbours, you're acting ridiculous. Invest in some earplugs, play some music, leave the house, maybe go outside and touch some grass. She's free to use the space as she wants, especially if the noise is faint to the point where you're the one who notices and fixates on it. This sounds like much more of a you problem that you need to work on than something that she needs to fix. OP replies saying, I unfortunately don't get to choose where I live as our house is a council house. We can't afford private rent and are stuck here until a miracle happens and we get better jobs. Beep says, then get a better job. Have you thought about taking out a leaf out of her book? You could maybe start something working from home. You clearly don't do anything all day, and you're not parenting your kids if you let them jump about and don't try to keep them quiet. You're 100% the arsehole. To which OP replies, and bear with here, all I do is apply for other jobs in my spare time, but I hear nothing back. I don't want to go back to education. I sell Avon as my main income, but it's difficult. And Avon, if you're unaware, I'm not sure if you have it in other countries, but in the UK it's an MLM. And some people question what MLMs are. It's multi-level marketing. Google it, you're in for a treat. But don't sign up for one, whatever you do. Please. Had to sign up for this reply stat saying, "This is your real issue with the lady hustling at her own business that you hear all day, isn't it? She's successful, even bought her own house, and you hear it day in, day out. Her working. You could have offered to help out, gotten to know her, earned some income, but no, you decided to be pissy and resentful about their noise." To which AO replies saying, "Also no, let's not enable people involved in pyramid schemes either. To be honest, OP picked a job that won't just not make money, but actively drains her money and drives away friendships. That is, if you don't loop all your friends into your money-sucking cult for your upline. OP is crazy entitled. Leave your scam job, get a fucking therapist, and get over yourself. Let your neighbor make her actual living." Edit. Just realized you were encouraging OP to have tried to get a job with neighbor, not make money by pawning Avon onto her. My bad. Yeah, that would have been a much better call. My lordy, that one turned in the middle there. But yeah, it's going to be a "you're the arsehole" for me. And OP, if you do see this, get yourself out of that Avon stuff, man, please. I always mention someone that I know that I used to see on my social medias. I don't go on there anymore, but they've been part of several different MLMs, usually US based ones, to do with makeup and stuff like that. And they would constantly spam their timeline about it, try and, like what was said in the comments, try to alienate their friends and get them to buy products off them constantly. And it was all about getting your friends to buy stuff from you. It wasn't like expanding into different people like businesses do. It wasn't nothing to do that. It was just all about getting your friends to buy products. And because I'm a nosy bastard like that, I would often watch like their friends list and how many friends they got, and you could see the number going down and down and down because of it. And people talking to me about this particular person saying, you know, they just had to block them without them knowing, so they can't see that stuff anymore. And this person would put and I mean a lot of time and effort into it. It was really good stuff that they put into it. And I thought, and they owned their own little business alongside this as well. And I thought, if you put all that time and effort into your own business, I would have no doubt you'd be doing pretty well. I mean, it was incredible stuff they was doing, or they still are doing. But it's all focused towards this MLM, and they're actually proud of it. They said, "Oh, I've earned this much this month," without thinking about how much you spent on that shit. Oh, I'm going off on one, but don't get me started. I could rant about these shit companies all day. Anyway, what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. A huge thank you for spending your time with me today, getting involved in the channel. The likes, the love, the support is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for what you do. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love. Feeling good after that rant.